The first speaker is Richard Calabro. You can help me with the spelling, with the pronunciation. Be followed by John Dunn.
My name is Richard Calabro, C-A-L-A-B-R-O. I live at 7 Candy Road. And primarily I'm here to give you a little flair about what the people of Prospect are and who we are. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm going to read it to make it quicker. Sure. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you regarding the proposed wind turbines project. My name is Richard Calabro. I am living about 2,500 to 3,000 feet from ground zero. I came to live in this beautiful, quiet, small, idyllic town 38 and a half years ago. I always admired the wonderful things Prospect has had to offer, like the beautiful trees, land, stone walls, serenity, sound of nature, and the quiet of the night. When the time came for me and my wife to find a home, Prospect was the place. 2 of my 3 children have purchased homes on Putting Green Lane, which is in Prospect, and I'm raising my 3 grandchildren here as well. Here in Prospect, we especially enjoy the sounds of nature, my pool, and the garden. We are on the decks from early spring to early winter. I never thought that it would be any different. Then came DME, and all is about to change. A few months ago, the citizens of Prospect were finally made aware of the proposed plan to build enormous wind turbines within a close distance of residential neighborhoods, including mine. Immediately, questions raced through my mind. What about property values? What about the quality of life? What about those who live closest to them? Does it make sounds? Aren't they too close for the residences? And what about Route 69? What about the safety of people who travel that every day? Why don't I have any say in this? Why is D&E coming along in my quiet town, making changes that affect my life, and I have very little input? I thought over and over these questions, and then I began to research answers. I was able to conclude many things. I learned about lucrative tax incentives. I learned about wind turbines creating a never-ending sound. I learned that there were safety concerns. I learned about the current unrealistic setbacks, and they're not really far enough. I learned that there are not enough research done on the effect of humans living near the turbines to claim that the physical and mental health of the residents will not be affected. I learned about strobe effects. I learned that there are many communities around the world that are in an ongoing fight over false information given to them by the wind turbine companies. Unfortunately, the answers to these questions...
Mr. Calabro, I'm going to ask you to take a breath. I'm going to let you go. You can finish your statement just because of the light. Just keep... Okay. I don't need you to race through it. I don't have more to say. It's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Okay?
All right. I'm all wound up over this.
That's what I figured. And most people have and gone home alive. Okay? We're going to keep that record. Keep breathing.
As long as you guys keep your hands on the table. Who would buy a strobe light? And I began to think of questions, myself being one of them. Who would buy a strobe-lit home within earshot of a 24/7 operating wind turbine? What is the regulation set forth by the state, and how can they help me? What if the project fails and the wind turbine is left in my horizon view? What is the rush? This is I don't understand. Why is it a big rush? Why is D&E rushing to get this project through? We are sending an SOS to the Siting Council. This project must go into a moratorium until the questions are answered. Take the time needed to put the appropriate guidelines in place specific to the wind resource sites and projects. If the town of Prospect has struck gold with its potential wind source, let's get it right for the future of Prospect, for the future of Connecticut. Put them in the right place. Do not destroy our beloved small town, the best small town in Connecticut. Let my grandchildren learn to love the location that I have loved. Thank you.
We have John Dunn to be followed by Marilyn Bonnier and Fred Bonnier. Mr. Dunn, spell your last name and tell us where you live, please.
My name is John Dunn, D-U-N-N. I live at 16 Woodcrest Drive in Prospect.
Please proceed.
I'd like to talk a little bit about our life here in Prospect, but I'd like to start by saying I have to tell you that I have not felt disillusionment such as this since I returned home from Vietnam. Having said that, I would like to say that we all have the right to pursue, to the best of our ability, happiness and quality of life. We also take great pleasure in our homes, both the time and effort we put in to make them better, and most of all, we appreciate the sanctuary they provide to all of us who reside within their walls. We can relax in our yard, we can sit on our front steps and talk to our neighbors, and basically let the time go by. The greatest asset of living in a residential neighborhood is that it is residential. I can't recall anyone moving here hoping that someday industrial wind turbines would be located 2,200 feet away. I also can't recall my wife ever saying to me, "Go to bed, I want a vacuum." And I'm sure she can recall me saying to her, "I'm sorry, I didn't know you were asleep. I'll turn up the TV." The reason these things never happen is because we respect each other's right to peace and quiet, also known as quality of life. Shouldn't this be the norm? After all, we didn't move here so we would be close to an airport. I urge you, don't let this happen. Industrial wind turbines do not belong in residential neighborhoods. Thank you for your time.
Marilyn Bonnier?
Bonnier.
Bonnier. And, oh, you're both together,
Yeah.
right? You're both on the same page.
More or
Okay.
less.
So give me a second, because I'm going to later. The caucus is next. Please proceed.
Bonnier, B-O-N-Y-A-I, Marilyn and Fred, 18 Woodcrest.
I had lived at 18 Woodcrest Drive for 43 years. I took the bus trip to Falmouth with Mayor Bob, and after talking with several angry people, they gave us a lot of information on the wind turbines. I am very concerned that when the wind turbine propellers have ice on them, and when it melts, it will do a lot of damage to cars on 69 and cause a lot of accidents, and also to homes on 69.
I moved to Prospect in 1967, and the only reason I did was because I wanted to own my own home, and I couldn't afford it. Most of my life I lived in West Haven, which is an industrial city. We had Armstrong Rubber Company, and everybody knows Southern Rock. And I was used to that type of life. I moved to Prospect, which was very serene, quiet, very little traffic. I got to love the place because of its citizens and the way of life. 1995, I had colon cancer. And I had a resection, and I received chemotherapy once a week for a year. My immune system went very far down, and I was susceptible to all kinds of sicknesses. I was very thankful that I lived in a quiet, air-free, or pollutant-free air zone in Prospect. There was very little traffic, and it was a very good way of life. In 2000, I glued a mitral valve to my heart, and I had a St. Jude valve put in. Also, I was very grateful that I lived in Prospect. Now I believe that my way of life might be changing drastically because of wind turbines. I worked for United Illuminating Company for 33 years, and I was a lineman. And I dealt with all kinds of electricity. I worked in all kinds of storms. They sent us out in hurricanes to put back people that were out. The worst I did was ice storms. And I seen what ice can do. I know a young gentleman in one of the meetings in town stated that he had to buy hard hats for his children. I worked off Talmadge Hill where there was a communication tower which was stationary. It was approximately 300 feet. I seen ice come down and do all kinds of damage. If a piece of ice coming off a tower that is stationary and hit somebody, regardless if they had a hard hat or not. Can I finish?
Your wife's telling me yes.
A hard hat, I'm sorry, will do that child no good. He has two options. He's going to go to the emergency room, or worse, he's going to go to the morgue. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you consider what your decisions are going to do to the town. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.